Hey, it's Keith at Cheddar Farms, and I just want to talk to you a few minutes about what to do with your hydrangea in the summer. So these are Hydrangea arborescens or smoothleaf hydrangea. It's a dwarf variety, wee white, I think it is. Um, Basically, you don't have to do any pruning right now. The flowers are fading, which I like the effect, and they'll have that look all summer long, which to me is part of why you want to grow hydrangea. You could get rid of a few of these little dead things if that makes you happy, but it's really not necessary. In the early spring, you want to cut these down. If you want to keep them small, you can cut them down really hard to like down to a foot, and get rid of all that, and they'll grow and they will flower on the new wood. So we're going to go over here to some oak leaf, and we'll talk about those for a second. So these are my oak leaves. I think these are ruby slippers. They are a more dwarf oak leaf, so they're going to stay pretty compact. Again, right now you don't have to do a lot of pruning to them. I love the flowers the way they are right now. I want those on there. So unless there's some long branches or some shaping up, I wouldn't do a lot of pruning, but you could prune back anything that's too long. Say this branch was long, I would cut it off down there a little ways. These are going to bloom on this growth right here. So the buds for next year are in these tips. So you don't want to cut a lot of those off. You can cut the old flowers off if they start to look bad. I always do that usually in the late winter, early spring. So right now, not a lot to do to these either, but enjoy them. So next stop is Hydrangea paniculata. All right, here we have a paniculata hydrangea, and this one is actually firelight. Limelight is another one in a paniculata that a lot of people are familiar with. So this one here is blooming right now. Paniculatas, you don't want to do anything to right now except for enjoy. You can cut these flowers as for dried flowers. They last a long time. And I prune mine in the late winter, early spring. I'll just cut them back because they will bloom on next year's growth, on the new growth for next year. So you don't have to worry about when you prune these. You won't be cutting flower buds off. So enjoy these right now. Take a few in for cut flowers or dried flowers, and don't worry about pruning them until late winter, spring. All right, so here we are with our Hydrangea maculata or big leaf hydrangea. These particular ones are Summer Crush. There's Endless Summer. They're the ones that you usually think of as hydrangea. They can be pink or blue depending on your soil pH. This one is always this pink color. There's Rhythm and Blues from Proven Winners. They're all good. These newer ones are great because they will bloom very dependably. What you want to do is in the early spring when you start getting growth, you're going to have a lot of diebacks. So just cut them back to where they're growing again, and that's all you got to do on pruning. Now, if I usually go through and I'll prune these in the summer too, just to get rid of some of the old blooms, because once they get too old, they just look kind of bad. So let's just take this one, for instance. I will just cut it back to the next node and get rid of it. And actually pruning these getting some of this off will encourage some new growth and actually encourage some new blooms throughout the summer. Since they do bloom on old and new wood too, they will keep blooming some throughout the summer. That wraps up our hydrangea series here. Hopefully that clears things up. I know they can be a little bit confusing on when and how to prune them, but it's really not that confusing. Don't stress yourself over it and just get out and enjoy them. See you next time.